sometimes we have to in life unlearn. So what? Sometimes you can't just say I know this, so ऐसे ही होना है. Just unlearn everything you learned and do something different. And that's why I think sometimes it maybe helped me of not being from a hospitality school background, because maybe I would have then maybe had a preconceived notion about everything. So I didn't have any preconceived notion. I'll figure out myself what I have to do. That's what I thought. So I remember that I was rejected for an interview and I've been going to hotels and now giving them sessions about how they should innovate.
Amit Bagga sir, कैसे हैं आप?
Very good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the hospitable couch. In
My
fact,
pleasure.
I am very thankful for your presence, gracing our show, because the knowledge that you have और इतने सारे सवाल आने वाले हैं, अभी कैसा लग रहा है आपको?
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here. It's great to meet you as well.
My honor, sir. Completely honored for your presence. सबसे पहले सर एक बात ये मैं जानना चाहूँगा, I've been observing you for so long. जब भी जैसे हमारे कोई गेस्ट आते हैं, we do a research kind of thing. एक चीज़ जो कांस्टेंट रहती है, सिर्फ एक चीज़, वो जो आपका अटायर है, जो आज भी आपका है, वो वाइट शर्ट. व्हाट इज दिस एसोसिएशन एंड लव फॉर दिस वाइट शर्ट?
So my simple thing is that I think lot of people used to tell me that I look good in a white shirt.
Okay.
मैं चलो ठीक है. So what I made it a habit, and one more thing was that I don't like to wake up in the morning and decide अच्छा आज ये पहनूं या वो पहनूं या लेटेस्ट क्या कलेक्शन किसकी आई है. So I'm like यार simple. I have too many other decisions to make. Too much. I don't want to waste any of my time or my energy into deciding what I should wear or what I should buy. So my simple, I've decided I've chosen two types of shirts. I have 10 of each and I just keep revolving between them.
And the brand also is very significant and constant.
Yeah, either it's a customized one or it's like a branded one, but एक decide हो गया तो I'll just follow that. I'll get 10 piece of that. So when I go buy a white shirt, like इसे 10 दे दो बस, and I get 10 of them.
And parties में तो it goes without saying that it has to be black.
Yeah, I mean, and usually दिन में white, रात को black, simple, and कभी-कभी रात को भी white. So I think, and also I don't like to maybe I mean it's not like I used to be like this before. I used to be very much into fashion. आज ये latest collection है. But I thought now it's too much of my mind and focus on the work I'm doing. So I just can't waste my time on this. And I mean, in fact, someone recently I met, one of the very famous startup founders, was sitting with him and he said, "यार तू हमेशा ये white shirt क्यों पहनता है?" So the one person said, "You know what? Even Steve Jobs used to wear the same clothes every day, and even Mark Zuckerberg wears the same great T-shirt every day."
That's the story that is very connecting and very similar.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great to be an example like that. But obviously, if I can even reach 10% of that, be great.
So that hospitality has the terms of hospitality business has to do with this thing. उसी की वजह से ये change आया?
Actually, it's like not hospitality as such. In fact, hospitality people want to be even more glamorous in the way they come out. But for me, I kept it very simple. Simple and straightforward. I've kind of made my life very simple and to not waste too much time on decisions which I don't have to. And and also, in fact, like I said, Steve Jobs is also very big inspiration for me personally. Okay. Not that I'm doing it because of him, but yeah, he's a big inspiration, and he was also very passionate about whatever products or everything he used to create. So I'm also like that, and when you're doing that, you don't want any distraction at all.
Correct. So it adds on to the productivity as well.
Yeah, exactly.
एक बात जाननी है ये कि दिल्ली में एक दरियागंज ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट करता था, इतने सारे कैसे मतलब पॉपअप हो गए?
So Daryaganj is an area in Delhi where there used to be a restaurant which was founded by my friend Raghav Jaggi, my friend and partner Raghav Jaggi's grandfather, Mr. Kundalal Jaggi. तो उन्होंने वो रेस्टोरेंट स्टार्ट किया था 1947 में दरियागंज एरिया में. एंड
उसका नाम क्या था?
मोती महल दरियागंज जो पहला खुला था वो फाउंडेड बाय 3 पार्टनर्स, मिस्टर कुंदलाल जग्गी जो राघव के ग्रैंडफादर है, मेरे फ्रेंड के पार्टनर के, फिर एक मिस्टर कुंदलाल गुजराल थे और एक मिस्टर ठाकुरदास मग्गो थे. ये 3 लोगों ने साथ में दोस्त थे, तीनों ने स्टार्ट किया था रेस्टोरेंट. एंड वहाँ उन्होंने बटर चिकन, दाल मखनी, सब डिशेस को लॉन्च किया. एंड दैट बिकेम लाइक द बिगेस्ट एग्जाम्पल ऑफ अ restaurant for a family restaurant.
Yes.
The first time ever family started going out was from that restaurant in Delhi. Culture of going out, everything started from that. So story हमारी ये है कि 1992 में मिस्टर जग्गी ने वो रेस्टोरेंट उनके पार्टनर्स ने मिलके ये रेस्टोरेंट को बेच दिया किसी थर्ड पर्सन को. बिकॉज दे हैड बिकम ओल्डर, दे वर अबाउट टू रिटायर, दे वांटेड टू एग्जिट द बिजनेस. एंड जो मिस्टर जग्गी के पार्टनर थे मिस्टर जो गुजराल थे, उन्होंने आगे वो मोती महल डीलक्स ब्रांड नाम से बना के, और वो उन्होंने आगे अपना दे took forward the business. And जब जग्गी फैमिली थी, they didn't want to take it forward anymore in the restaurant business. But I came in the picture 25 years later, and I told Raghav, who's my childhood friend, कि यार एक रेस्टोरेंट बनाते हैं साथ में, where it's your family legacy, and let's get the classic North Indian cuisine back. And that's how Daryaganj Restaurant chain started.
तो ये जो आइडिया आपको आया, ये कौन से ईयर में आता है? Because I think 2019 is for the first time Daryaganj
So,
was launched.
like I said, 1992 में जब ये उन्होंने बंद किया था, जो when they sold that restaurant, 25 years later, which is 2017.
Right.
2017 is when, एक बार की स्टोरी है कि 2017 में I was just about, I had just gotten out of a lot of my bar businesses. I had done some bar restaurants which were more bar oriented. Few of them shut down, few of them I exited. Then I realized now I'm going to focus only on the restaurants which are focused on food, which are food oriented restaurants. Because I realized कि एक बार और एक लाउंज उनकी लाइफ बहुत कम होती है, एंड फूड ओरिएंटेड रेस्टोरेंट विच इज़ अ फैमिली ओरिएंटेड रेस्टोरेंट हैज़ अ लॉन्गर लाइफ एंड अ मोर लॉयल्टी फैक्टर, एंड ऑल्सो यू डिफ्रेंशिएट योर प्रोडक्ट्स समहाउ. आज आप देखोगे अभी भी 70-80 साल से कुछ रेस्टोरेंट चल रहे हैं, तो वो फैमिली रेस्टोरेंट ही है, कोई बाहर नहीं होगा, एक्सेप्शन होगा कोई होगा तो. सो एंड देन इट वॉज द थॉट कि उस टाइम कि मुझे ना ये करना है. आई डिसाइडेड मुझे एक फैमिली डाइनिंग रेस्टोरेंट खोलना है, मुझे इंडियन कुजीन, नॉर्थ इंडियन कुजीन करनी है, जो बिगेस्ट सबसे कुजीन है इंडिया में. एंड और बहुत सारे दिमाग में पॉइंट्स आए उस टाइम कि मुझे जो नहीं करना था पहले से, जो मैंने सीखा. एंड व्हेन आई वाज इनफैक्ट जब मैं नॉर्थ इंडियन कुजीन की सोच रहा था, तो मुझे बहुत लोगों ने बोला कि तो नॉर्थ इंडियन कुजीन सबसे कम्पिटिटिव है, और दिल्ली है बटर चिकन दाल मखनी का कैपिटल, तो यहाँ करना चाहता है. मतलब अगर यहाँ कर लिया तो फिर कहीं भी कर सकते हैं. सो आई टुक इट अप एज अ चैलेंज, आई लाइक चैलेंजेस. So anyways, so I mean, and Raghav, when we were talking one day, Raghav lives in America. वो आज से 20 साल पहले अमेरिका चला गया था. He works for a very big corporate, a very big company, which is an $8 billion company there. He's a leader there in that company. And he came to Delhi once. We were talking, and we were मिलते रहते थे हम हर साल. 2017 की मुझे याद है बात कि हम दोनों बात कर रहे थे. मैंने उसको बताया कि मुझे ना ये करना है. कहता देखो मेरे ग्रैंडफादर है, जो ही वाज अलाइव दैट टाइम. कहता मेरे ग्रैंडफादर की लेगेसी जो मैं चाहता हूँ दुनिया को पता चले, बिकॉज पीपल डोंट.
उन्होंने आपसे कहा?
राघव ने.
ओके.
राघव ने बताया मुझे कि द ग्रैंडफादर की स्टोरी, कि वो मोती महल स्टार्ट किया था उन्होंने, एंड हाउ दे वर द इन्वेंटर्स ऑफ बटर चिकन दाल मखनी. बड़ा इतनी अमेजिंग स्टोरी है, किसी को पता नहीं है बात ये. कहता मेरा भी ये मेरा भी एक ये डिज़ायर है टू द होल वर्ल्ड टू नो द लेगेसी ऑफ माय ग्रैंडफादर.
ये चीज़ जो आज इतना मतलब अवेलेबल है, ये आई कहाँ से?
हाँ, तो वही वहाँ से बात आइडिया शुरू हुआ कि राघव चाहता था कि उसके ग्रैंडफादर की लेगेसी को ऑनर किया जाए और बताया जाए. और मेरा भी ये थॉट था नॉर्थ इंडियन खोलना, और हम दोनों का एक कॉमन पॉइंट था कि हमको ना वो खाना लेके आना जो मिलता नहीं आजकल दिल्ली में, जो हम क्लासिक नॉर्थ इंडियन खाना खाते थे. जब हम 10-12 साल के थे हम जाके खाते थे खाना वहाँ पर जाके मोती महल में, दरियागंज में. और वो खाना जो था ना, वो फिर बाद में ऑब्वियसली डिडंट रिमेन द सेम आफ्टर द रेस्टोरेंट वाज सोल्ड. एंड सो वी थॉट वो खाना वापस लेके आना है, वो जो प्योरनेस, जो फ्रेश इंग्रेडिएंट्स, वो टेस्ट, फ्लेवर्स, सिंपलिसिटी, ऑल ऑफ दैट वी नीड टू गेट दैट बैक. ये आइडिया था. तो वहीं से चलो रेस्टोरेंट शुरू करते हैं. फिर मैंने राघव ने काम कर मेरे दादाजी को मैं उनको मिलने गया. आई मेट मिस्टर कुंदनलाल जग्गी. ही वॉज 95 years old दैट टाइम. मैं बैठा, उनमें वीडियोज़ भी हैं. उन्होंने मुझे काफ़ी स्टोरीज बताई पुरानी, क्या होता था, कैसे उन्होंने वो एक कैसे वो रेफ्यूजी बन के आए दिल्ली में, और सब कुछ था उनका ख़त्म हो गया था. दे स्टार्टेड देयर लाइफ ऑल ओवर अगेन, हाउ दे रीबिल्ड देयर लाइफ एंड हाउ दे बिकेम मिलियनेयर्स. फॉर देम दैट टाइम वो रेस्टोरेंट इतना चलता था कि दे एक्चुअली बॉट प्रॉपर्टी, सो मच फ्रॉम दैट मनी दे अर्न फ्रॉम देयर. So or for them it was a life-changing business for them, and obviously it was a game-changing thing for the industry as well. For the two most popular dishes of Indian cuisine were invented there, and that is something So when I was hearing these stories and I was taking points, so I used to ask him कि अच्छा ये कैसे बनती थी डिश, बटर चिकन कैसे बनता था. उन्होंने बोला कि he told me about the stories that how they used to cook तंदूरी चिकन. वो तंदूरी चिकन उन्होंने बोला कि स्पेसिफिकली इट शुड नॉट बी मोर देन 750-800 grams का चिकन जो होता था. They used to have their own poultry farm to cater to the demands. It was so high the demand. So they said that तंदूरी चिकन लिया उन्होंने. एक दिन बहुत सारे लोग आ गए थे गेस्ट वहाँ पर, तो तंदूरी चिकन लिया उन्होंने. एक टोमेटोज़ लिए, हैंड कट टोमेटोज़ लिए, चिलीज़ ली, सब मसाला लिया, कुछ तो बटर लिया और बना दिया बटर चिकन. एंड दाल मखनी भी किसी गेस्ट ने सजेस्ट किया और उन्होंने बना दिया. और बटर चिकन भी किसी एक ने सजेस्ट किया होगा ऐसे कर लो वैसे कर लो. तो उन्होंने I mean, and I said, you know, आपने इतनी बड़ी डिश इन्वेंट करी, कैसे करी? कहते हमने कुछ नहीं किया. It was all God's grace. So he was so humble. He never, you know, took so much credit about it. It was all God's grace. But जो हो गया बस. And it was all by chance also, he said. So उनके जो मैंने पॉइंट्स बहुत नोट करने शुरू करे कि अच्छा ये इसमें इस टाइप के टमाटो होते थे, इस टाइप का चिकन होता था, ये ऐसे करते थे, इसको ऐसे बनाते थे, तंदूर का अंदर ये टेम्परेचर होता था. ऐसे बहुत सारी चीज़ें जो उनकी फैमिली से मुझे इनपुट्स मिले, कुछ मिस्टर कुंदला जग्गी से इनपुट्स मिले, सब मैंने पुट टुगेदर करे. फिर मैंने अपनी भी रिसर्च करी कि उस टाइम में शेफ़ से बात करी मैंने कि अब खाना ऐसे कैसे बनाते थे उस टाइम, व्हाट यूज्ड टू बी द इंग्रेडिएंट्स क्वालिटी दैट टाइम. लॉट ऑफ
शेफ्स थे वो जिनसे आपने बात करी थी?
हमारी मतलब यू नो वी गॉट सम लाइक शेफ मंजीत गिल भी आए थे हमारे पास. उन्होंने आके हमको फीडबैक दिया, ऐसे था, ऐसे होना चाहिए आपका खाना. एंड यू नो लॉट ऑफ पीपल वी मेट फ्रॉम देयर, यू नो हिस्टोरियंस से बात हुई मेरी. सो आई मीन आई वाज गॉट अ ग्रेट आइडिया अबाउट व्हाट यू नो फूड that kind of food was supposed to be like. Because what was important was, जो आज सबसे ज़्यादा मैं बोलता हूँ एक लेसन है कि खाना जो भी रेस्टोरेंट बनाना चाहे, जो सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट होता है वो इंग्रेडिएंट्स की क्वालिटी. और वो बहुत ज़रूरी है कि वो किस टाइप के इंग्रेडिएंट और किस क्वालिटी की आप ले रहे हो. कि जो टोमेटोज उस टाइम अवेलेबल होते थे सेम तो नहीं मिलते. सो वट एवर वी कुड गेट क्लोज टू दैट. सो आफ्टर दैट, यू नो, दैट्स व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड वर्किंग ऑन दिस, यू नो. देन दिस वाज 2017 लाइक आई सेड. 2018 के आसपास हमने लोकेशंस देखनी शुरू करी रेस्टोरेंट की, एंड फूड ट्रायल्स भी शुरू कर दिए. और अनफॉर्चुनेटली मिस्टर कुंदला जी की पास्ट अवे 2018 मार्च में. पर वी रियली वांटेड हिम टू ओपन द रेस्टोरेंट फॉर अस, बट वो ओपन नहीं हो पाया. बट आई एम श्योर ही बी हैप्पी वेयरएवर ही इज विद व्हाटएवर वी हैव डन. सो एंड 2018 के बाद 2019 में फाइनली जाके हमने ना पहला रेस्टोरेंट खोला अप्रैल 2019 में एरो सिटी वर्ल्ड मार्क में. और उस टाइम यू नो पीपल वर लाइक यहाँ पर जगह चलेगी नहीं चलेगी, बट आई वाज कॉन्फिडेंट दैट दिस लोकेशन विल वर्क. एंड
कहाँ से आया वो कॉन्फिडेंस? बिकॉज आपने पूरा शहर छोड़ करके एंट्री एग्जिट पॉइंट पर आपने एक लोकेशन डिसाइड करी.
सी, एक लोकेशन डिसाइड करना इज अ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट डिसीजन फॉर एनी रेस्टोरेंट. Like a lot of sayings you must have heard, that what is the 3 most important things for a hotel or a restaurant? Location. It's a very important factor. Yes. So what for me, everyone says कि यार ये तुम गट फील में डिसाइड करते हो, पर गट फील भी एक्सपीरियंस से ही आता है. तो मेरा अगर मैं जाके देखा मुझे लगा कि ये जगह चलेगी, पर देन आई एक्चुअली एनालाइज कॉन्शियसली ऑल्सो. There are few things which make it work for any restaurant to work. Number one, location for a restaurant to work. Who's the developer, or who's the one, what kind of development is being done there and who is managing it. Okay. Like I realized that Bharti Group, which was started the Worldmark development. Yes. I mean, they had done a great job to make it. They didn't spare any amount on making it world class. They had the best designers. The whole development looked so amazing international standards. That was one very important factor for me. Second very important factor was the kind of brand mix which was coming up. कि all good brands और restaurants were coming up. So एक बड़ा X factor जो बन जाता है किसी भी डेवलपमेंट के लिए, दैट कि वहाँ पर अगर समय इनफैक्ट पीपल यूज्ड टू थिंक अर्लियर यार इतने सारे रेस्टोरेंट एक साथ खोलेंगे, कंपटीशन हो जाएगा, दे विल ईट अप ईच अदर्स बिजनेस. Today's generation and including me, we all in fact are very good friends with our competitors, because we say यार अच्छा एक डेवलपमेंट आ रही है, वहाँ 10 जगह हम 10 लोग जाके मिलके खोल लेते हैं. अब 10 अच्छे ब्रांड है मेरे, सब चल जाएगा. So in fact I won't do that. I had to call up friends who are my competitors. यार ये जगह मेरे पास मैं ले रहा हूँ, साथ में आप भी ले लो. So it might be strange for people to think, why are you calling your own competitor?
Absolutely.
But that's not the way it is. So the way is that, so when it becomes an X factor of all good brands coming together, it becomes a destination for people to go. That was the second point. And third point was that also to look at what is the kind of demographics of people around that area. So Aerocity might not have too many residential developments around that area, which could have been a decision for people not to do it. But I could realize that forget the residential. What is going to be most important is the airport proximity, because there's going to be so many people around that area. 10 5-star hotels coming up. Right. So there's going to be a lot of people around that area. And near the airport also, everyone wants. So it happens so many times even now. Someone has a flight, they say come have a dinner and then go. And if someone lands, they come and have a dinner. They have dinner with us or maybe lunch with us. So it becomes very convenient for people. The airport is the main place where everyone is moving around. So these 3 factors were important for me, and that's why I took the decision to take this property there, and it worked. Thankfully it was.
So I believe the audience should have an hindsight about what goes into building up a restaurant business.
Right.
Because ये जो आपने 3 points बोले, उस लोकेशन को फाइनलाइज करने के लिए I can see the amount of analytics, amount of focus, और जो आपका एक thought process है वो गया उसमें, and it is a big success now.
Right.
So एक बात मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ, were you formally educated in hospitality?
Never.
Apart from that, आपका दरियागंज से पहले also you were into F&B business. How did that inclination towards this sector happen?
So I was born in a business family, automobiles business, by the name of Bagga, Maruti and Bajaj dealerships.
Goes without saying. कार के पीछे that.
So after my college, I joined that, and my family business. I worked there for a few years. And I realized this is not my thing. I have to do something else. And since I was a kid, maybe when I was 16 years old, I used to read Economic Times. I used to cut out every article about restaurants and hotels and make a scrapbook. That's how I was passionate about restaurants and hotels. It was always a passion that I have to be in hospitality business since I was 16 years old. I realized already that time, which is yehi karna hai. Then obviously when I could not get the chance, so I went with my family business for a few years. Then I said I have to follow my passion. So I took a break for a few years after that, figure out what I want to do. Then I finally got together with a friend of mine and started a few bars, which was Boombox Cafe in Khan Market and another one called OTB in Hoskars Village, which did very well at that time. They were like trendsetters, and these two bars did very well. Like I said, but over the period of time, bars lose their loyal clientele, and there were some issues in the area where we were working, which was Hoskars Village. So I exited that. So yeah, so my passion was always restaurants, but then somehow when after that, like I said, I switched to work a family restaurant brand.
Tell me one thing, how challenging it was to convince your parents for hospitality business, leaving your family business?
So no, my father was supportive. When I asked him that I want to start this restaurant business, in fact he helped me out with a loan which I took from him to start the first restaurant. Touchwood, then after that things went well for me. But then, so it was good, so I think he was supportive that time. And that helped me to go and take that risk. But I was very clear that I want to follow my passion.
Okay. Talking about yourself, what qualities do you think that you had that you can take a legacy business, जैसे लेट मिस्टर कुंदन लाल जग्गी जी का जो उन्होंने इतने साल मेहनत करी, जो एक वर्ल्ड को उन्होंने दाल मखनी बटर चिकन दिया, कितने कॉन्फिडेंट थे आप कि आप उसको रिस्पॉन्सिबली आगे लेकर के जा सकते हो, प्रोवाइडेड कि वो एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, बिकॉज यू हैव टू सेटिस्फाई द कस्टमर एज वेल.
सो इन फैक्ट अगर आपको किसी को जाके नया नॉर्थ इंडियन ब्रांड खोलना है तो ज़्यादा उसमें कोई ज़्यादा प्रेशर नहीं है, बिकॉज आप कुछ भी रेसिपी दे सकते हो, कोई भी डिश बना के कैसा भी वर्जन दे सकते हो जो आपको अच्छा लगे. But my thing was that I have to go closest to what the real recipes and the real food was, which took a lot of research and effort. राघव ने जो मेरा बचपन का दोस्त है, we and me have known each other since we were like 5-6 years old. So काफ़ी साल से जानते हैं एक दूसरे को. We had अगर ये शायद राघव के या कोई और होता तो मतलब राघव मेजर कोई और तो राघव शायद ट्रस्ट नहीं कर पाता. It was a big thing to give your family legacy someone to run. So obviously we had both had a strong trust on each other. And my Raghav, don't worry, I will not let you down. And I met his father, I met his family. We took everyone's approval. Today, in fact, I'll tell you, his father calls me and says, you are more of a grandson of Mr. Kundala Jaggi than Raghav. How you have, done for him, his legacy. So I feel very happy about hearing that. At least I could give justice to that. And my also idea was that whenever I do, I always make sure I do it, with full conviction and full effort. I always tell everyone around me that if you do anything in life, either give it your 100% or don't do it. If you do, even if you want to give you think, okay, I'll give my 70-80%, देखेंगे, never do it. It's never going to work. And so I made sure that and also I had a very strong feeling that time. Why I feel that I could have done justice to this. I saw a lot of clutter, that everyone was trying to make North Indian restaurants modern. Fusion, making it, going against the classics. Because everyone thought that classics are boring, classics are retro, कौन जाएगा उसमें पुराने. Classics, like for example, everyone thought कि यार classics तो boring हो गया, पुराना हो गया. So और मैंने वही देखी opportunity. So like they say ना, you have to, when whatever the world is not doing, you should do, not do, you know, it's not, you should not, so what, like they say that you should not go after what everyone is doing. You should do something different from that. Also like Steve Jobs said, it's not about just doing different things, about doing things differently.
Things different.
So I thought ये Indian restaurant brand को differently करना पड़ेगा, where हर generation को appeal करे. तो मैंने सोचा अब कैसे उसको develop करें brand को. So वहीं से I could see that opportunity कि पुराना और जो I could see that opportunity that the classic food was not being popularized or served properly. So I was very sure that हम ये वापस ठीक से कर पाएंगे. And I'm telling you, जब हम food trials कर रहे थे restaurant के, before the restaurant started, it was interesting times. There was a chefs doing food trials. So okay, now make this, make that. So I said, okay, I said, get me these dishes, which I'm Indian dishes, जो जैसे बनाते हो, वो लेके आए. मैं उसमें just tell me what are the dishes, what are the ingredients in the recipe. So he gave me a list of 25 for example 25 ingredients. I said एक काम करो, इसमें से ना 1 2 3 4 5 6 ingredient यही रखो, बाकी सब हटा दो. He's like what? Like मैंने सब हटा दो. And they were like really like, you know, maybe he must be like telling him he's gone crazy, and that's what he used to go back to the kitchen. ये पागल हो गया है, क्या कर रहा है ये? I said, yeah, just keep doing what I'm saying. I said, okay. So they did that. You know, then when I was saying, okay, इसमें क्या क्या ingredient डालते हो? ये packet वाला cream मत डालो, fresh butter लेके आओ, ये करो, वो करो. So I mean, and use the purest of ingredients. Sir, cost बढ़ जाएगी, but doesn't matter.
ये भी gut feeling आ रही थी.
हाँ, हम जो डालते हैं खाने में वो बड़ा important है, वो pure होना चाहिए. So then all of these things I applied. Then we did the trials, and somehow we cracked the whole menu and we started the restaurant. And before that, all the chefs were like, you know, it doesn't matter. We have done what we have. If anything happens, it's his responsibility. But then, touch wood, the moment we started, people loved the food. The first day we started, the place was full. There was a line every day. After that, touch wood, there's been no looking back since then. 5 years. So, been 5 years. We just celebrated our 5th anniversary, and everyone used to just come and compliment our food for the simplicity, and it was a welcome change for everyone. So then the chefs came Monday said, "Sir, मान गए. Sometimes we have to in life unlearn." Said what? Sometimes you can't just say कि I know this is ऐसे होना है. Just unlearn everything you learned and do something different. And that's why I think sometimes it maybe helped me of not being from a hospitality school background, because maybe I would have then maybe had a preconceived notion about everything. So I didn't have any preconceived notion. I'll figure out myself what I have to do. That's what I thought.
Sometimes in the real battlefield, I must say, things fail.
Yeah.
Like somebody is from, with respect to everybody.
Yeah.
But वो जो एक instinct होता है वो कभी काम नहीं करता, जो एक gut feeling, जैसे आपके केस में it turned out to be vice versa.
ठीक, हम कहते हैं gut feeling, पर gut feeling भी बहुत experience से आती है. So it's like when you go to a AI software, you put 20 things, then the result comes.
Yes.
The same ways, if I've been exposed to 20 things in my life, that's when the gut feel comes also. With that data, the data I fed into my mind is giving me the gut feel. So that's how it is,
Tell me the first failure of your life. Failure.
I would say first failure if you talk about business or life, you say.
Now I would like to know your life as a first failure in life, and how did that came?
So I was in school in St. Columbus. I was, so in my in my high school I didn't get very good marks. I was not a very studious student. So that was kind of a failure, but I didn't get into any good college. But luckily I still had to go to my family business. So, but I'll tell you one thing. This was when I was 21 or 20 years old, I think. One day I saw in the newspaper there was an article which says interviews open for Oberoi Uday Vilas. So which was supposed to be 12 people hired for that, I think. I think hundreds of people who applied for it.
And the year was?
2021, I think. 2001, sorry, okay. 2001. So I went for that open interview without telling my family or anyone. I just went for that. And so I went inside, and there was a group of 300-400 people there. So they did one group discussion. They chose some students from that. So they chose some candidates from that group. So I was chosen for the next round. The second round I had a one-to-one interview with one of their F&B managers or someone, F&B director or something. And I gave good answers, and they said, okay, this guy has good knowledge of F&B. So the final round was with Mr. Vikram Oberoi himself. And I was, that one thing I learned there was, imagine this, that the founder of, the main MD of the company is taking the interview of every single person. So because they had a policy to make sure every person is run through them. So that was good. So anyways, I went for that interview. There was another person sitting next to him, and they asked me a lot of questions, which I think I gave good answers in terms of what I would do, what my likes are, what hospitality is all about. One question he asked me, then what do you do? I said, yeah, I'm just not much. I'm just training with my father in his business. He said, okay, what business? I told him the business. He said the background. Then his attitude changed. The person next to him. So then he asked me, how did you come here? I said, I drove down. So you came for an interview in your own car. So I was, so in the funny way they said, yeah, guy, I think Amit, you don't need the job right now. Let someone else have it who needs it.
Yeah.
So, but you have good, potential. But we don't want to take you because I think let's give it to someone who deserves. Maybe who needs it more than deserving. Maybe I was, but he said maybe someone needs it more.
Yes.
That was one big disappointment. But I think that was a good thing. Imagine I would have done that, maybe I would have become a hotelier, or I don't know where I would have ended up. So that was one failure, you can say, or whatever, but it was a setback. But I still laugh about it when I remember that, I was rejected for an interview and I've been going to hotels and now giving them sessions about how they should innovate. So I was invited to one of the hotel chains recently where I went and did a session with their team. And I was telling them how you guys should start innovating and don't go by whatever you always learned by the book. Mm-hmm. And I imagine this is what I was doing after I rejected myself in the hotel. So that was funny.
तो उसने आपको humble बनाया, मतलब वो setback
नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं था, वो तो चलो that was something which was I took it in my stride. But if you ask me about what made me humble was when my first restaurants shut down. When I did very well when I started those bars. There were some issues which happened in that area where I was working, Oscars Village, and I had 3 restaurants there. All of them shut down one after another. So that was a big setback. Before that, I was just thinking that whatever I'm doing, I'm going to work, everything is going to work. I assumed whatever I'll do will work. I was not even checking things properly. I was not sure. I was taking too many risks. Mm-hmm. In one market, I decided to open 3 restaurants together. It was a risk, but I was so overconfident that time. So what worked for me well after, these setbacks and the failures of these restaurants made me realize that, it did make me humble and also made me realize that you have to really, really, analyze and plan things better. But also one more thing I learned was if you have made a mistake or you have a failure, it's fine. That's the part of life. But if you don't learn from it, then you're a failure. Well, I realized, okay, these are failures for me or whatever I failed here. But now this is the learnings, and from those learnings, I decided to open Daryaganj. And every learning I had, I applied to when I was starting the brand, and I applied of what not to do. More than what to do,
exactly.
What not to do.
What not to do is so much important to learn in order to grow.
So what that failures teach you, what not to do. And some smart people can learn from other people's failures as well.
Exactly.
So
they are
what
very
not to
smart
do.
people.
Yeah.
I'm not the one, but people like उन्होंने मेरा देखा होता ना failure. Right. They learn and after that tell me तूने गलती करी ना मैं
नहीं करूँगा.
Yeah. I don't think कि इंडिया में कोई ऐसा अवार्ड 2019 के बाद हुआ होगा जिसमें आप स्टेज पर नहीं गए.
देख रहे हैं पीछे. So
मैंने तो ये सब मिलते हुए भी देखा है.
But I'll tell you one thing. I didn't really, when I'll very very funny thing I'll tell you. When I applied, there used to be this awards जो होते हैं कभी बहुत सारे. You have to nominate yourself.
Yes.
So एक कई nominations का option आया. जब पहला मैंने award जीता था ना, मैं उसको बता रहा हूँ, उसकी story बता रहा हूँ. But when I was working and starting this brand Daryaganj, I was not working for awards. मैं लाइफ में वैसे इनफैक्ट उससे पहले लाइफ में कभी लाइफ में अवार्ड जीता ही नहीं था लाइफ में. स्कूल में कहीं आज तक नहीं अवार्ड जीता था कोई. So my PR team came to me that ये awards हो रहे हैं, तो उसमें हम 3 nominations के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हैं. एक बेस्ट नॉर्थ इंडियन, एक बेस्ट फैमिली डाइनिंग और तीसरा कोई अच्छी ऑप्शन नहीं मिल रही है. पर अगर क्योंकि हमको तीसरी ऑप्शन कोई चाहिए कि मिनिमम 3 अप्लाई करने हैं. उन्होंने मुझे बोला सजेस्ट किया कि एक ऑप्शन आ रही है रेस्टोरेंटर ऑफ द ईयर की, वो अप्लाई कर दूँ. मैं यार छोड़ो यार, मुझे कहाँ मिलने वाला है, कोई और देख लो. फिर सर कर देते हैं अप्लाई. चलो तुम्हारी मर्जी, कर दूँ. अप्लाई कर दिया उन्होंने. And 1 month later, I just got a call from the organizers that you won the restaurateur of the year. I was like, what are you saying? Is it a joke? I was actually shocked. And people might say कि मैं ऐसे ही बोल रहा हूँ, पर मैं honestly मैंने 1% भी expect नहीं किया था. मुझे जब कॉल आया, मैं actually like really, उस टाइम मुझे रियलाइज़ हुआ कि मैंने कुछ किया है शायद, लगता है अच्छा लाइक दरियागंज ने कुछ अच्छा किया है कि मुझे ये रेस्टोरेंटर ऑफ द ईयर अवार्ड किसने डिसाइडेड बाय जूरी. सो इट वाज अ शॉक फॉर मी एक्चुअली, अ वेरी प्लेजेंट शॉक. Then I went and took that award. That was the first award we won for Daryaganj, and now today I'm happy that we just almost won 39 awards and I've won 7 restaurateur awards.
कैसा लगता है जब अवार्ड्स मिलते हैं? क्योंकि मैंने कई लोग देखे हैं जो या तो बहुत ज़्यादा प्रोडक्टिव हो जाते हैं, और कई लोग मैंने ऐसे देखे हैं कि वो अपनी ऑथेंटिसिटी लूज कर देते हैं.
In fact, one of the best awards I would say, which I was very proud of, and again I didn't expect it at all, was we got a call in that Zomato you have won the award for the best butter chicken in Delhi, and voted by users. It's not by jury. They count the votes and give it to the highest votes. I was shocked. I said, really? I mean, out of Delhi, where there are like thousands of restaurants and many people serving this dish, we have won the award. I was shocked. But I was happy to, get that as well. So these were, the first one obviously is a very special, and this one was also very special. And we keep getting a lot of awards which I'm proud of for doing the highest revenue. But again, for me, what will really make me happy or make me upset is my customer reviews. Whether it's great, I will feel good. If it's bad, I will feel bad. But awards don't really make a big difference to me, as in it will, like I said, so very happy to get them, but not sad to lose them.
All right. So how do you manage people, entire team, building teams and making them to perform?
So I'll tell you one thing, we all are running a business which are people driven.
Yes.
So in a company, in a startup, in a restaurant, there are 4 very important pillars apart from marketing, finance, operation. The 4th pillar, which is the HR, the people. That is very, very important for me, because I feel that I have in fact spoken to so many top founders, startup founders who have built $1 billion companies. I said, what is the most important thing for you which you did in your company which made you successful? They said culture. So the most important is the culture. So when I started the first restaurant in Aerocity, like I was telling you, we had a team of 25-30 people there in the restaurant. There were some managers, chefs. From that first day, I used to go and brief them. I used to tell them, we are here, we are all equal. Everyone is going to sit down on one table, from the UT to everyone, and they will all sit together. Everyone needs to be treated equally. Then you have to be focused on the customer. Treat them like your own guest at home. You have to be obsessed about customer experience. ये मैं तो उनको बोलता था उस time, and slowly it became the culture of that team. And now that team obviously now is spread out to 10 outlets. That one outlet is now 10 outlets. So in all our 10 outlets, there will be some people from that first restaurants team. That culture they take with them and take it to the next two people who come in. It starts spreading.
The mindset remains.
So the culture, mindset, that's what drives you. And people can be motivated with the culture, right culture and the motivation. And that's what was most important. आप किसी को कुछ भी बोल लो, कोई बहुत एक्सपीरियंस्ड हो, बहुत टैलेंटेड हो, उससे ये नहीं काम करेगा वो काम तब करेगा, उसको मोटिवेट करोगे और उसको एक अच्छा कल्चर दोगे. And even a person who is not experienced or skill can give you results, because if you motivate him and give the culture. And I'm an example, I didn't have any experience in the restaurant industry before I started it. So I think that makes a lot of difference. The culture is very, very important.
Very important.
And so biggest example of the organization in India is Tata Group. The real founders, J.R.D. Tata is doesn't have any family members who's running them. I mean, who are own the company. Ratan Tata is just 1 or 2% of the company. So the majority of the company is owned by trusts. But still, the company has still the highest standard in the culture.
They align the vision with the founder and what really has to be portrayed.
Not the founder. They made the values of that company. And made everyone align to the values and the objective and the mission of that organization, from integrity to whatever the values are, and that became a company with hundreds of thousands of people now. So that's like a Taj example, the Taj group of hotels. We heard stories about what happened when the 2611. So how they took care of the guests and put their lives on stake. So that's the culture which I am saying, the culture which has been built by organization.
It is giving me goosebumps because you mentioned about Taj and Tata, because being a hotelier, I started my journey with the Tata Group in the Taj hotels.
That's great.
So, cutting this down, what was your experience in Shark Tank, standing in front of the sharks and portraying what you hold for country. I will not say just to Delhi, but for the country.
I was very happy to be there. I said, like I said, I did not expect it again to be on Shark Tank. I applied for it.
उसमें आप और आपके फ्रेंड मिस्टर जगजगी वेंट, लेकिन साथ में आप शेफ को भी लेकर गए थे.
शेफ को भी लेकर थे. So ये था कि when I again like one day randomly I just applied for the Shark Tank. मैंने देखा सामने स्क्रीन पे कि application open है, I applied for it, I left it. I never thought I'm gonna end up there. Second, I got a mail which said, okay, you're in the second round. These questions you answer. So I answered that. Then I got a mail, third round. Then I said, they said send me a video, fourth round. Then I went for an audition for the fifth round there. And finally we got into the final round. I think there were 500,000 applications and we were the last 100 to make it. So when I was going there, so my friend Raga was in New York. And they told me only few days before कि आपको आना है वहाँ पर बॉम्बे में शूट के लिए. And he was Yashrat Studios, I have to shoot there. So I called Raghav, you have to come. कहता मैं न्यूयॉर्क में कैसे आऊँगा? You have to come. I can't go alone. You have to come and talk about your story as well. वो स्पेशली फ्लाइट लेके आया, डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट लेके आया. मैंने शेफ को फोन किया, you have to come with me as well. So I took them both along with me, and then we went and did the show, and it was great publicity. Yes. Almost 15 million views amongst national TV, OTT, YouTube. I mean, great publicity we got.
वो 15 million में मैं भी था.
Great.
Restaurant food business is very glamorous, so people like me in their young age or कोई भी होता है ना, they have an aspiration of getting into the F&B industry. The look of the bar or a restaurant वो देखते हैं. What is your message to the young budding people, hoteliers या फिर जिनको business start करना है कि उनकी approach कैसी होनी चाहिए?
So one thing is very true, that this is the toughest business possible and by the way, if you see the data, about I think 7 out of 10 restaurants shut down in the first 2 years.
Yes.
7 to 8 restaurants.
Undoubtedly.
So the success rate is very low because there is no entry barrier. So and a lot of people think बड़ा आसान है restaurant business कर लेते हैं, बहुत glamorous लगता है, but it's the toughest business in the back, in the back end. It's also a very strong science to it. It's not just कि जगह अच्छी लो, restaurant में interior अच्छा कराओ, खाना अच्छा सब करो, चल जाएगा. This is all just not enough. You have to give a soul to the brand, soul to the business. What is your, how you differentiate yourself. So number one, if you don't have the passion for this business, then don't ever do it. Because if you don't have the passion for it, you will not be able to do it. It will be so time consuming. You have to do so many sacrifices from your time, your family. So it will not work for you if you don't have the passion. And a mix of passion and perseverance is very important. Because if you have the passion, then you will have the perseverance to see through your goals.
Exactly.
And it's not going to be easy. This journey is very, very tough journey.
How do you maintain passion in early years? जब profit नहीं हो रहा होता, जब restaurant कभी-कभी खाली
maintain की बात या तो है तो नहीं आपको, या तो if I have the passion, I have the passion. It's not something like you can.
Patience, I believe, as a.
But I can obviously. I have the passion, but by being a leader, I can spread the passion through my team by giving them that, motivating them. That's what I can do. And one more thing I would like to say for anyone in the industry which is getting into hospitality or restaurants. I'm giving you the basic code of what should be the code. It's basically the 5 senses. If you decode what is an experience of a restaurant or of hospitality business, it's all about the 5 senses. When you go to a hospitality, we go to a hotel, to a restaurant, anywhere, you come back and say, वहाँ पर vibe अच्छी थी या नहीं थी. You consciously will notice some things like a food in the restaurant, or maybe some things you will notice here and there. But ultimately, it's all your 5 senses which is making that experience.
Exactly.
Which will make, and so when we did Daryaganj, my plan was to make sure the 5 senses are taken care of properly. So I'll give you an example. When you enter, you see a restaurant which is contemporary looking restaurant, like a warm feel to it, retro elements, warm lighting, you feel comfortable and you sit down. You sit down there, you touch the table, the crockery, everything is making you experience the brand. Even the way the servers are talking to you is a touch. Then even the fragrance, I especially developed a fragrance which was a mix of Nargisi notes and Nargisi flower notes and a contemporary note. So that gives a certain feel of Indianness and contemporariness together. So we develop that, and it's the same fragrance every restaurant. So you feel that. Then especially the playlist, the music playlist, which are in my restaurant, I selected it very carefully. Every song is like an old 80s song sung by a new artist, and in a live format. So when you sit down, you feel that soulful tunes there, and it appeals to every generation. The younger people will like the tunes and the style, and the older people will write the words. So it becomes acceptable to all. And then the most important, the sense of taste. So all the 5 senses together make up your experience. And we are the only industry in retail which can touch all 5 senses.
At one go.
Yes, so that's what it is. So I feel that's if anyone who works in restaurants, who runs restaurants or hotels, just keep this in mind. If you can just take care of all of these 5 from the customer's perspective, not from your own perspective, that when you imagine yourself as a customer coming in and how you will feel in all these 5 senses, and if you can master all these 5, you will have a great experience. And people say, great vibe, amazing feel. This is what you will hear.
Nothing to complain about.
Yeah, because they're not consciously noting all of this. Subconsciously, all of these things are making the experience.
Adding up to their experience.
Yeah. That's my suggestion or my advice to everyone anyone who gets into the hotel or restaurant industry.
That is what we are also doing, educating people informally in the informal way. I think very beautifully you have aired out the combination of the fusion of art and science all together. Sir, it has been a very pleasurable experience speaking with you and getting those words, those sentiments, those feelings out from you. Thank you very much for doing this. I'm indebted for your contribution.
My pleasure.
In terms of food business, in terms of restaurant business, I think people would vouch for that. What should be an ideal approach for anybody starting the business? How should be authenticity and truthfulness should be maintained, and persistence is the key to success.
Thank
you very much for doing this, sir.
Thank you.
My pleasure.